Part 21. Fantasy, Me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 201. In the land of the Blood Demon clan, the war has come to an end. The 6 major forces joined forces to attack and mobilized countless elites. They became famous in one battle and completely wiped out the Blood Demon clan from this world, shocking the hearts of all races in the world. After the news broke, everyone in the cultivation world looked horrified. The Blood Demon clan is not an ordinary clan. During the decisive battle, their secrets exposed were estimated to be enough to rank among the top 100 clans in this world. But for such a huge ethnic group, if it is said to be wiped out, it will be wiped out. This is a complete erasure. It was not done by the ancient Emperor Taishu in the past. The great emperor attacked with a certain amount of respect and would not target weak creatures. But the 6 major forces won't care so much. When their young descendants were ambushed, they were taking naked revenge and directly eradicated all the Blood Demon clan members. Every Blood Demon tribesman who entered this world was killed without mercy, leaving no one alive. Later, someone stepped into the decisive battle. Immediately, he was stunned by the terrifying sight. I saw that within millions of miles around, blood was flowing everywhere, corpses were everywhere, devastation was everywhere, and the evil energy soared to the sky, almost condensing into substance. A scene of purgatory on earth. If a practitioner with a weak will enters hastily, his mind may be affected and he may become possessed. There may be another desperate place in this world. At that time, the old Saint King sighed and said, "The 6 forces don't care about this evil spirit, and others will not care about it, because this is a warning from the 6 forces to all the races in the world, and they will take action against their descendants. This end. As time goes by, no one can tell whether a new race will be born in such a place full of evil spirits." The deserted city. In front of Tianji building. Many people are looking at each list. The Blood Demon clan is really gone. On the list of geniuses of all races, the name of Xiao Tian has disappeared. Rank 6th in the list of geniuses of all races. If he does not fall, he may become an emperor in the future. Even if he cannot become an emperor, there is probably no problem with becoming an emperor. Yes, Xian Tian should be the most amazing person among the younger generation of the Blood Demon clan. Unfortunately, he died in this battle without any reason. In the long history, there are many people who are more amazing than Ranchen, and there are not a few geniuses who have fallen without any reason. In the final analysis, he is too weak. The great sage fell in one battle that day, let alone a young one. Generation. Look. At this time, another great sage shouted, pointed at the Holy Master list next to him, and said loudly, 11 Wushan's name has also disappeared. Has Wushan also been removed from the Holy Lord list? An old man stroked his beard and sighed. Wu Wushan and Wu Tian can be said to be the representatives of the Blood Demon clan. One of them is ranked 6th in the list of geniuses of all races, and the other is 9th in the list of Holy Masters. Both of them are extremely ranked. At the forefront, the potential cannot be underestimated. If they do not fall, their future achievements will be limitless. Unfortunately, their road is narrow. They have provoked 6 huge forces at once, and are jointly targeted. There is almost no way to survive. By the way, could they have escaped back to the Blood Demon realm, and they themselves were not dead at all? A young man rubbed his chin with his fingers and said softly, "You are overthinking this. Do you think that you can come and leave when you want to cross borders? The pressure in the space cracks is simply difficult for ordinary people to resist. Ordinary people who step into the space cracks rashly will definitely die. With so many people from the Blood Demon clan coming, I don't know how much it cost. If we all run back together, will we be able to survive the space rift? Put aside for the moment, even if we survive, all the money spent before will be in vain." Outside Tianji Tower, Many people were talking to each other. After this battle, the 6 major forces became famous. Their exposed strength frightened countless people. At a time when many people are focusing on the Blood Demon clan. Several days passed. A black figure cut through the void and quickly rushed into the deserted city. After Yang Qiu entered the Wang city, his speed increased instead of slowing down. His aura was condensed to the extreme, and his body was shrouded in divine light, blocking all his aura. Quickly entered the Tianji Tower. Senior. Senior. The junior is in trouble, so please ask the senior to save the junior's life. As soon as he entered the Tianji Tower, Yang Qiu spoke. He had a look of fear on his face, as if he was being chased by an emperor, and his voice was trembling. What's wrong? A clear voice came. Li Yun was dressed in green robes and holding a book in his hand. His temperament was as gentle as jade. He walked down the stairs unhurriedly with a very calm expression. He glanced at Yang Qiu one glance. He casually said. Did you meet the emperor? Senior, help me. When Yang Qiu saw Li Yun's figure, his eyes shone with surprise. He was already used to it when his senior casually revealed his inner thoughts. If his senior didn't know that he was being targeted by the emperor, then there was something wrong with him. Senior, there is an old emperor in the Blood Demon realm who plans to return from Nirvana. His strength is very terrifying. Not only the junior, but also the ancestor of the junior and 2 other quasi-emperors are being targeted. Yang Qiu said quickly. After stepping into the Tianji Tower, he was still pale and had not recovered. The appearance of a great emperor was a huge shock to him. Especially, he was the first one to encounter him. The kind of precarious mood that outsiders can't understand. Even if he stays in Juyu Demon sect, he doesn't have any sense of security. Because the ancestor Meng Qingzi is obviously no match for him. Don't panic, sit down. Li Yun walked to the bench and sat down, then pointed to a chair not far away and said. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 202. Senior, Junior really can't calm down. Yang Qiu's face turned pale. A great emperor will cross the border at any time, and they don't have any means to deal with it yet. Thinking of the future situation, Yang Qiu's heart suddenly felt cold. It's just a mark of the great emperor. Li Yunfan said lightly. Mark of the great emperor, that's all. Yang Qiu was dumbfounded. How can it be called a mark left by a great emperor? This thing is equivalent to a name list. Without the strength of the great emperor, there is absolutely no way to survive. Even if you escape to the ends of the world, you will end up with nothing. It's a dead end. The reason why the great emperor of the Blood Demon realm didn't come over was because he planned to be reborn in Nirvana. If he hadn't reached his twilight years, Yang Qiu felt that he would no longer be able to see the senior poster. Could it be? Yang Qiu's eyes lit up and he said excitedly, Senior, do you have any ideas? Otherwise, what do you think? Li Yun asked back. In the outside world, he is only a saint. It is true that there is no way to get a mark of the great emperor. But in the Tianji Tower, sorry, he is a god. Not to mention the great emperor. There is someone more powerful than the great emperor. And you have to be honest. Like the marks left by the Blood Demon realm emperor, he can make a lot of them in minutes, and then put them on everyone who steps into the Tianji Tower. He can do it better than the Blood Demon realm. The great emperor is even more perfect and will not be noticed by anyone at all. Very good. Yang Qiu said in surprise. As he spoke, he took out the jade slip and sent a message directly to Meng Qingzi, who was hundreds of millions of miles away. Meng Qingzi, who was discussing the ownership of the emperor's soldiers with the 2 quasi-emperors, looked at him and glanced at the jade slip in his hand. Jane immediately breathed a sigh of relief. The senior poster is worthy of being a senior. This wave is stable. With the senior taking action, the Blood Demon Realm Emperor seems not so scary anymore. He really crossed over and he can jump over the TNG tower. Directly unify this world? Just dream. Finished sending the message. In the TNG tower, Li Yun looked at Yang Qiu's movements and said without stopping. Although the main business of the TNG tower is selling information, it seems that it is okay to start a side business and erase the marks left by the Emperor. After all, this deal he doesn't need the system to make a profit. Everything is a bargain for himself. He can't make much money by helping Yang Qiu erase the mark. He has the cultivation level of a saint. To put it harshly, his life and death are very important to the Nine Nether Demon. It doesn't mean much to the sect. He is just a saint. Even if he falls, the Juyo Demon sect will not be greatly damaged by it. However, Menkingzi is different. If he steps into TNG Tower, this deal will have to be discussed carefully. Well. Yang Qiu's face froze, he held the jade slip, smiled awkwardly, and said the transmission is over. Although he knew that his senior would not see anyone outside, he was still a little embarrassed to spread the news so openly. You must also understand the meaning of this great emperor of the Blood Demon realm leaving a mark. Li Yun opened his mouth and said in a deep voice. The juniors understand. Yang Qiu nodded. This is a great emperor's must-kill list. People with marks on their souls will be liquidated one by one. When the great emperor comes, it's hard to say what will happen to others. But they will definitely die. So. Li Yun elongated his tone and did not say the next words, but Yang Qiu already understood it. Senior, feel free to make an offer. Yang Qiu gritted his teeth and spat out 5 words. For the sake of his own life, he had to agree to any price first, otherwise the great emperor would come over and say anything. It would be too late. The Nine Nether Demon sect does not have the Imperial clan or the Golden Crow. The confidence of a clan. 3 holy items. Li Yun raised 3 fingers and said lightly. 3 item. Yang Qiu was stunned. This value exceeded his expectations. He is a saint. To help him erase the great emperor's mark, he needs 3 saint-level items. Further calculations, where is Menkingzi, the ancestor of their Nine Nether Demon sect? He but the quasi-emperor. Yang Qiu was not shocked for himself, but was bleeding for his ancestor. If the ancestor Menkingzi came to TNG Tower and took out 3 quasi-emperor items at once, the background of their Nine Nether Demon sect, but you have to give away most of it in an instant. Don't worry, Li is not so evil. Li Yun took a look at Yang Qiu's thoughts and said. For a business without capital, you must make some money, but you won't be too ruthless. It's simply unrealistic to ask for most of the Juyo Demon sect's knowledge to open your mouth. Menkingzi will not take it out. In addition to his quasi-emperor and an imperial weapon, their Juyo Demon sect now has 3 quasi-emperor items. To be honest, it is hard to say whether they have 3 quasi-emperor items. After all, he originally sent himself his quasi-emperor skills and quasi-emperor weapons were all traded. At present, Menkingzi should be the poorest among all quasi-emperors. That's good. Yang Qiu breathed a sigh of relief. He took out 3 holy items, placed them in front of Li Yun, and said, then I'll trouble you, senior, to help this junior erase the marks. After going through the battle with the Blood Demon clan, Yang Qiu was still able to come up with this. His net worth, which had just shrunk, became rich again because of this battle. A piece of cake. Li Yun put away the items and waved his hand slightly. There was silence in the air. A quarter of an hour later. Yang Qiu's face turned red from holding back, and he said suspiciously, Senior, you can start now. It has ended. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 203. Yang Qiu's eyes widened. What is going on? I don't feel anything. When the great emperor of the blood demon realm left a mark on them, the sky was shattered and the earth was filled with murderous intent. Why did he come to the senior poster and wave his hand casually? Is it over? Senior, aren't you bluffing me? Yang Qiu's mind was silent, and he looked inwards. Soon he became excited. It's gone. The mark left by the great emperor of the blood demon realm has disappeared. If Senior hadn't spoken, he didn't even know that the mark of a great emperor had long since disappeared. Senior, how did you do this? Yang Qiu said in disbelief. Is it difficult? Li Yun raised his eyebrows, raised his palm, and a ray of crimson light lit up in his palm, lingering around the emperor's aura, making people's hair stand on end. Fortunately, he was imprisoned in the Tianji Tower. Otherwise, if this aura escaped, the entire Dawang city will be completely destroyed. There are too many ordinary people and low-strength practitioners in the city. They can't bear this aura at all. Even just a wisp of the Emperor's aura can kill countless people. Is this the mark? Yang Qiu looked over and asked. Li Yun nodded and put it away casually. He glanced at Yang Qiu and asked softly, during the battle with the Blood Demon clan, you killed a lot of people, right? Well. Hearing this sentence, Yang Qiu was a little unresponsive. Senior, why do you ask? I am a member of the Devil's Path, so what's wrong with killing a few people? This is very reasonable. If the people of Juyu Demon Sect are all good men and women, if word spreads about it in the future, wouldn't it make other people in the Devil's Path laugh out loud? Nothing. Li Yun waved his hand and said nonchalantly, I just had a sudden impulse and wanted to make a list. List. Hearing these words, Yang Qiu became more energetic. Some time ago, he finally got on the list of holy masters, and he was still in the top 100. In just a short time, he was already on the verge of falling to the 200th place. After a while. In the past few years, he might not have been on the list. Now, the senior poster has to be on the list again, so he has to seize this opportunity. What can I say? I have to let myself be on the list. What list will the seniors make? Heavenly Sin. Li Yun spit out 2 words. As soon as these 2 words came out, the temperature of the entire Tianji building suddenly dropped a lot. Even as strong as Yang Qiu, he couldn't help but shudder. The word Heavenly Sin. From the name, it is not a good thing. List. Senior, what does this list mean? Yang Qiu asked weakly. His intuition told him that this list may be different from the previous ones. Before, whether it was the prodigy list or the holy master list, being on the list represented a symbol of honor. But Heavenly Sin, maybe it doesn't bring honor. You'll find out later. Li Yun laughed. He asked in his heart system, check the most evil people in this world. There is no need to check those great emperors. First check for saint-level existences. Since they are extremely sinful people, obviously there is no need to rank the list below saints. These people are average in strength and commit evil every day, so their sins are not too great. But when they reach saints, it will be a qualitative change. Because saints are too powerful. Stronger. With one palm, they can shatter thousands of miles of earth. The life and death of countless creatures are all within their thoughts. And the emperor is too strong. It is obvious that he cannot be ranked with the saint, so he plans to make 2, one part is a saint and one part is a great emperor. Both lists start directly from all races. As for the 2 realms of Saint King and Great Sage, they are more embarrassing. They are not as good as those above, but more than those below. Generally, People who have reached these two realms, they were all in seclusion and practicing hard. Therefore, these two realms were selectively ignored by him. He couldn't have one for each realm. There were too many divisions in the list. It would be troublesome for him and the people outside would be tired. Ding. Query on the list of natural sins was successful. Saint level. First place, Li Yun. Race, human race. Identity, the owner of Tianji. Cultivation, early saint stage. Deeds, changing Yang Qiu's fate directly led to the destruction of Yaoguang Holy Land. Changing Ren Qingtu's fate indirectly reversed the decline of Deluo Sword Section, change Baikon's eternal destiny number and reverse the original life trajectory, revealing the Blood Demon Clan's plan directly led to the destruction of hundreds of millions of Blood Demon Clan's creatures. Second place, Swallowing Heaven. Race, Daodi Clan. Identity, Chief of the Daodi Clan. Cultivation, Peak Saint. Deeds, destroyed the Beetle-eyed Tiger Clan, devoured 76 large human cities, and 132 medium-sized cities. Third place, New Way. Race, Drought Clan. Identity, Elder of Hanbeo Clan. Cultivation level, Late Saint. Deeds. 417th place, Yang Qiu. Race, Human race. Identity, Head of the Nine Nether Demon Sect, cultivation level, early stage of sainthood. Deeds, killed 300,000 blood-scale sea monsters. He once penetrated 30 million miles into the sea and destroyed the Red Scorpion Python clan. In the battle between the Blood Demon clan, a saint-killing formation was set up to kill. No 500. When the list of natural sins came out, Li Yun glanced at it and saw a name that he was very familiar with. He asked quietly in his heart. System, are you serious? Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 204. There are no errors or omissions in the system data. Li Yun. He indeed had no doubts about the list given by the system. But it's very embarrassing for me to be the first one. I, the owner of Tianji, am making a list, but I still have to put myself on it. Even if he were to be on the list, it would not be on the list of heavenly sins, let alone at the saint level. He could guarantee that if his name appeared on this list. Once the list appears, it's bound to cause an uproar. The commotion caused is probably no less than the previous appearance of the secret realm of creation. System, remove my name. Li Yun said in his heart. At the end, he added another sentence: there is no need to count any of my information in the future. Everyone in the world can be ranked, but he can't. Just for a moment. He made up his mind. In the future, even if there are some great emperor lists or supreme lists, he will not be able to do so. He planned to rank himself up, and he was the one who ranked the list. As a result, he was also on the list. What is this? The words fell. Above the ranking, the news about him disappeared, and everyone's name automatically rose by one name. That's about it this time. Li Yun took a satisfied look, and after confirming that nothing was missing, he waved his hand and said, "Publish it." Boom, there was a buzz. Outside the Tianji Tower, another list appeared. Senior, have you made the list of sins? Yang Qiu asked softly. Li Yun nodded. Then me. Rest assured. Li Yun glanced at Yang Qiu and said seriously, you must be on the list, but your ranking is a little lower. You don't have to be discouraged. This list is not based on strength. For a while, you probably won't be able to fall. These words. What Li Yun said is true. On the list of heavenly sins, one must have committed certain sins before he can be on the list. The level of strength is not too important, but it cannot be without any strength. Most people have no point. His strength, without any background, he might have just done evil. He was slapped to death casually. And the reason why Yang Qiu can be ranked above is that the battle with the Blood Demon clan is crucial. Without this record, to be honest, whether he can go up, or not it's hard to say. The reason why Yang Qiu is still alive and well has a lot to do with the Juyu demon sect behind him. Can't fall. Yang Qiu's eyes lit up. Regardless of what this list is, just the fact that he can't fall down makes him relieved. He doesn't have to worry about whether he will no longer be on the list like the Holy Lord list. If you don't believe it, go out and take a look and you will understand. Li Yun pointed outside and said, "Junior, let's go take a look." Yang Qiu was overjoyed. He raised his hands and ran out quickly. He came outside. Yang Qiu squeezed through the crowd and came to the front. He swept his eyes and quickly found a list of heavenly sins. He looked up from the bottom. It didn't take long for him to find his name. The senior said that he was ranked lower and it would be faster if he started looking from the bottom. 417th place, Yang Qiu. Race, human race. Identity, head of the 9 Nether Demon sect, cultivation level, early stage of sainthood. Deeds, killed 300,000 blood-scale sea monsters. He once penetrated 30 million miles into the sea and destroyed the Red Scorpion Python clan. In the battle between the Blood Demon clan, a saint-killing formation was set up to kill this. Seeing his own introduction on the list, Yang Qiu became uneasy. The word heavenly sin came out of the mouth of the senior. He felt that this list was not as glamorous as it appeared. Take a look now. Sure enough, this is not a list of heavenly sins, this is a list of righteous people who must be killed. Behind the news that belongs to him, there is a long list of introductions. In the past, it might be counted as a record, but today it is a bit eye-catching no matter how you look at it. A long list of achievements, each one representing a sin. Among the creatures he killed, there were humans, monsters, demons, ghosts, etc. Some news is known to everyone. For example, in the battle between the blood demons, he must have participated in the battle and killed some blood demons, and no one would say anything. After all, those quasi-emperors and great sages killed more. But there is some news that is different. Just like, he penetrated 30 million miles into the sea and destroyed the Red Scorpion Python clan. This news was top secret, and it was only after he became a saint. For a piece of saint material, he ran from the Juyu demon sect to the sea area and snatched the saint material, and then committed trouble. This matter can be said to be a secret. Very few people knew about it, but they didn't expect that the seniors would tell it clearly. In this way, the big clans in the sea area and even the True Dragon clan got the news. How can it not be thunderous and wrathful? If they don't show off their power, wouldn't it make people mistakenly think that anyone can go to the sea and wipe out 1 or 2 ethnic groups at will? Senior, you are cheating on me. Yang Qiu was about to cry but had no tears. Although he was okay at the moment, he seemed to have thought of the future scene. In the future, maybe when he stepped out of the 9 Nether Demon sect, he would encounter a large group of demon slayers and defenders. Even if you are the leader of the 9 Nether Demon sect and have the cultivation of a saint, it is of no use at all. This world is too big. There are always some people or some forces who will not give in to the 9 Nether Demon sect at all, even if the two sides go to war, they won't worry. If a Saint King really comes to kill him, he may not even be able to run away. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 205. Tianji Tower, another list appears. At this time, other people also gathered around, looking at the list and talking about it. Good guy, the list of heavenly sins. It seems that all the people on the list are saints, and their gold content is no less than that of the Holy Master list. Hiss, Dowdy, the number one on the list of heavenly sins, isn't this a powerful ethnic group of the demon clan? Their clan leader actually swallowed up hundreds of human cities. I didn't even hear any news before. Hundreds of cities, probably millions of living beings. If the senior poster hadn't made this list, we don't know how long we would have been deceived. Would our human holy lands have to sit idly by and let the monsters devour human beings? There is no need to be angry. There are many people on the list among the human race, and their demon race has also suffered a lot. By the way, Yang Qiu, who is ranked 416th, even though he is a member of the demonic path, hasn't he killed many demon clans? People in the devil's path often do nothing in human affairs, but at least they help the human race to breathe out their bad breath. SHHH, keep your voice down, don't you look at who is next to you. Many people turned their heads and looked over. After taking a closer look, there was a crash, and a large area within 10 feet of Yang Kai was cleared. No one dared to get too close to him. It's on the list of heavenly sins. The list is next to it, it just appeared, and it is still hot. Everyone on it is a real murderer. The kind who dare to kill people on the spot if they disagree with each other. Who would have thought that he would actually see this with his own eyes? Position. Although the ranking is relatively low, it is still on the list. There are countless lives on the body, and it is not an exaggeration to say that the hands are stained with blood. Snort. Yang Qiu snorted coldly and glanced at himself. He was in such a hurry that he forgot to hide his whereabouts. Without saying anything, he strode into the Tianji Tower. After a while, he quickly walked out again. He just entered the Tianji Tower to say goodbye to his seniors. Now, he is setting off for Juyu Demon Sect. He has already made up his mind that he will never leave the sect unless necessary. At least before the Saint King's strength, it would be impossible. Come out. This world is too dangerous. His saint's strength is a bit underwhelming. It is not that he is safe when he reaches the strength of the Saint King, but after breaking through the Saint King, he can avoid being on the list, without the influence of the heavenly sin list. It is estimated that the possibility of being remembered will be much lower. After Yang Qiu left, the news of the release of the heavenly sin list spread to all directions at a terrifying speed. Every major force got the heavenly sin list at the first time. List of list. Human border. Loxia City. This is a large city located in the gap between humans and monsters. It has millions of people, which is far beyond what the original desert city can compare with. The city is built in this kind of zone where there is no care. The situation can be said to be very dangerous. There is a possibility of the city being destroyed at any time. It is precisely because of this that the Lord of Loxia City is extremely powerful. He has reached the peak of sainthood. There is only a thin line between the realm of the Saint King and he can break through the current realm at any time. If we take a step forward, Loxia City may not be able to challenge the Holy Land based on the foundation of just one city, but bullying some small sects will not be a big problem. At this time, in the city lord's mansion, a palace is built magnificently and with great momentum. Inside the palace, there is a dark light. A middle-aged man, with his eyes closed and his hair disheveled, sat upright on the sofa, his 5 hearts pointing to the sky, and his whole body exuded a sense of demonic nature. Around him, the essence of vegetation from all directions, the dragon energy of the earth, and the essence of the sun and moon, all gathered together like flowing water. If anyone is here, it must be obvious that the Lord of Loxia City is practicing a magic skill. Boom! A loud noise came. Behind the middle-aged man, a magnificent scene emerged. It was an ancient battlefield, with floating corpses everywhere and rivers of blood. A black god, holding a bloody war spear, stood on the battlefield, looking down at everyone. God. The black god's eyes opened and closed, as if he had consciousness, overflowing with evil spirit that was almost condensed into substance, like an ancient demon god, about to return from the depths of the long river of time. After a long time, the black god disappeared, and the scene of the ancient battlefield also disappeared. Gradually faded away. The middle-aged man slowly opened his eyes. Deep in his eyes, a ray of demonic intent flickered, but he concealed it well. After taking an inward look at his own cultivation, he sighed softly. It's still a little bit worse. If I could have participated in the battle between the Blood Demon clan and me, I might have been able to get the blood essence that would allow me to achieve a breakthrough in my cultivation. Pity. The 6 major forces have joined forces, making it difficult for outsiders to get involved. There is no way to extract the essence and blood from the Blood Demon clan. We can only find a way from both the human race and the demon clan. If you want to step into the realm of the Saint King, it will take hundreds of thousands of ordinary creatures at worst. Think of this. The Lord of Loxia City rubbed his eyebrows. This is a terrifying number. Anywhere where hundreds of thousands of creatures are suddenly missing will attract the attention of all parties, and the consequences are unpredictable. But if you catch them one by one, the impact will be very small, but if you want to get the quantity together, you don't know how long it will take. As for bullying other weak ethnic groups, it's not impossible, it's just that the distance is too far, relying on the saint's cultivation to fly there and fly back. I don't know how long it will take. Behind him, there is only Loxia City, which is not as good as various holy places in terms of foundation. People can use the great teleportation talisman at will, but he cannot. In the final analysis, the foundation of Loxia City is still far behind. When the Lord of Loxia City was feeling depressed, outside the main hall, there was a sound of footsteps. City Lord, something big happened. A man in a long robe came to the front of the palace and took a look at the palace in front of him. In the past, the city lord whom he regarded as a god now made him feel a little afraid. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 206. What happened? The Lord of Loxia City stretched out his hand and flicked his fingers. A gust of breeze blew through, cleaning away all the demonic energy in the hall. After doing this, he slowly spoke. Yes, it's TNG Tower. The man was sweating, his face was pale, and big beads of sweat appeared on his forehead, falling to the ground. In the past, when he comes to the main hall, he will be mostly in awe, but not afraid. But today is different. He saw a list, which was the Heavenly Sin list released by TNG Tower. The people who can be on the list of sinners are all extremely vicious. To say that they kill without blinking an eye is to belittle them. Each of these people is responsible for hundreds of thousands or even millions of lives. Their Loxia City Lord was impressively ranked at the top, and also ranked quite high, ranking 35th on the list of natural sins. Regardless of the human race or the demon race, countless creatures fell into his hands. The man was very scared. In daily interactions, he felt that his city master was fairly approachable, but who would have thought that there was such a side beneath the gentle surface? This is not the city lord. He is obviously a demon. What happened to TNG Tower? The Lord of Loxia City walked out of the main hall, came outside, glanced at the man, and said gently. Tianjilu released a new list. Oh. The Lord of Loxia City raised his eyebrows, and a trace of curiosity arose in his heart. The reputation of TNG Tower during this period has spread throughout the 3,000 states. Even though he is on the border of the human race and monster race, he still hears the reputation of TNG Tower. In the city countless people, almost everyone has a list of geniuses and talks about it with great enthusiasm. Is it a list of saints? Or the list of saint kings. Lord of Loxia City asks softly. As the Lord of Loxia City, he can't even make it to the list. It would be impossible to say that he is not disappointed in his heart. With his power, he is still the Lord of a city. But on the Holy Lord list, but there is no him. Is it because he is too senior, or is Loxia City not considered a force in the eyes of the Master of Tianji Tower, so he is not named on the Holy Master list? None, it's a list of heavenly sins. The man's body was trembling. He took out a jade slip and handed it over tremblingly. Seeing this scene, Loxia City Lord frowned, glanced at the man, reached out to take the jade slip, and said calmly, "Are you afraid of me?" Without, no. The man shook his head quickly, like a rattle. Although he said no, the look on his face had completely betrayed him. Ah! The Lord of Loxia City chuckled, but the meaning was unclear. He penetrated the jade slip with his spiritual consciousness and glanced at the contents. After just reading the beginning, his expression darkened. He stared at the list of heavenly sins with his eyes. One line. 35th place, Moun Kang. Race, human race. Identity, Lord of Loxia City, cultivation level, peak saint. Kung Fu, demonic god-killing cannon. Deeds, destroyed 9 small human cities. Go deep into the territory of the demon tribe, kill 600,000 demon tribes, and use the essence and blood of all creatures to practice demonic skills. How can it be? The face of the Lord of Loxia City changed drastically, his eyes suddenly turned cold, and wisps of chill overflowed from his body, as if he could freeze space. How could such a secret thing about him be known to the Lord of Tianji? There is information about him on this list, it was so clear. Not only were all the things he had done put out, but his skills were also directly exposed. He believed that if this list were to appear in the world, no matter whether it was a human race or a demon race, there would be no one like him. Gain a foothold. Do you all know? As if thinking of something, the Lord of Loxia City suddenly turned around and looked at the man next to him. A ray of holy power rushed out, as heavy as a huge mountain. It fell from the sky and pressed hard on the man. On shoulders. Click. The ground cracked, and the man popped all over. He knelt down on the ground, his body was like sifting chaff, and trembled. "Please forgive me, Lord City Lord." This list was released by the owner of Tianji. Now not only the little ones know it, but also the majors are probably aware of it. The Holy Land knows it. Maybe, right now, it has spread all over the world. And what? The Lord of Loxia City gave a stern voice and said in a deep voice, "Speak." Moreover, since early this morning in Loxia City, countless people have fled outside the city. Currently, hundreds of thousands of people have left the sphere of influence of Loxia City. The man whispered. Originally, he wanted to run away, but he had the restrictions left by the city lord. Even if he ran to the end of the world, the city lord would not have a thought. It can make him lose his mind. Rather than die miserably, it would be better to come before the city lord and show your loyalty. What if the city lord gives himself a way to survive for the sake of informing him? What? The eyes of the Lord of Loxia City darkened, and the anger in his chest erupted like a volcano. What is the purpose of running Loxia City for thousands of years? Is it to prepare for the great sage? The essence and blood of millions of creatures, as long as when you step into the Holy King realm, you will be able to become a great saint once you reach the peak of Holy King cultivation. Once you swallow the whole city, you will be able to become a great saint. By then, the world will be vast and you can go anywhere. Even if all the holy earthquakes of the human race are angry, what can they do? It is extremely irrational to start a war with a great sage. If he can kill him with one blow, it would be fine. If he cannot kill him, he will be taken care of by a great sage. Their disciples and elders will be in danger. But now, the situation is different. A list of heavenly sins has appeared, disrupting all his plans. Not to mention the great sage, even the Saint King is in danger. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 207. What a list of sins. The Lord of Loxia City roared, like a demon lord descending into the world. The terrifying demonic power enveloped the whole city, causing countless people to kneel to the ground instantly. There was no resistance at all. The boundless saint wave, like a Wangyang, is surging, as if the ancient demon god was born, and like a murderous god looking down on all living beings. At this moment, everyone wants to escape from this place immediately. The pressure of the saint almost makes them suffocate. No one wants to stay with the demon saint in the city, because I don't know when, I will be sacrificed with blood. Buzz. A stream of light broke through the void. Essence and blood were like a tsunami, like a comet, rising up against the sky at a very fast speed and escaping into the distance. This was a holy lord figure. Seeing the Lord of Loxia City, he released his demonic power. Knowing something was wrong, he wanted to escape immediately. But the next second, the Lord of Loxia City snorted coldly, like a heavy hammer hitting the heaven and earth. The sound wave was like a yellow bell, sweeping out, and countless people turned pale and spit out blood. The holy master figure who had fled to the edge of Luokhang City staggered when he was hit hard. Before he could recover, a palm fell from the sky and crushed him into a cloud of blood mist. Seeking death. The Lord of Loxia City took back his palm, and a drop of crystal clear blood rolled in his palm. This was the essence and blood of the Holy Master just now. He refined it in a matter of seconds. Gudong. Next to him. The man swallowed his saliva when he saw the essence and blood. It was too scary. A holy lord figure couldn't even resist the city lord. Once he met him, he was gone. If he wanted to, too would be gone. It doesn't take much time to explore Loxia City. Who else wants to leave Loxia City? The Lord of Loxia City stepped up to the sky, cold and ruthless. His identity has been exposed, and he completely tore off his disguise. His voice sounded like it came from the nine nether hell, cold and cold. All the practitioners in the city can hear it, and everyone can hear it. They felt chills all over and were wet with cold sweat. Facing a saint, they were too weak to rely on numbers to win. Most of them couldn't even hold back a thought from the saint. They were beaten again and again. However, I couldn't run away. Suddenly, countless people fell into despair. It was not me who wanted to kill you today. You could have lived for a while longer, but Master Tianji forced me to do this. You can go on your way with peace of mind. Loxia City Lord's voice was cold. He stretched out a hand and pointed his finger in the void. Buzz. The formation of Loxia City shines brightly, even brighter than the sun in the sky. Each symbol seems to be made of blood. It is almost poignant and makes everything in the world turn into dark red. Terrifying fluctuations rush out in an instant, and the sky is in the sky. Trembling, the earth is shaking. Huge cracks are spreading crazily in all directions, centered on Loxia City, as if it's the end of the world. Lord of Loxia City, you dare! Someone shouted, extremely angry. Why don't I dare? The face of Loxia City Master did not change. He has been forced to a dead end. Everything he has done before has been exposed. Now there may be monsters or strong men from the human race coming. When they come, he will definitely die. Since you are going to die, why not give it a try at the last moment? Lord of Loxia City, you are really ambitious. If Senior Master Tianji hadn't ranked you on the heavenly sin list, you don't know how long you would have been hiding. When you became the leader, you would be a big trouble to the world. Today, even if we die, there will be other strong men who will avenge us. We are waiting for you on the road to hell. An old man with snow-white hair laughed sadly, his voice was extremely desolate, his eyes were staring at the Lord of Loxia City, and his eyes almost pierced him. Is it? The Lord of Loxia City smiled disdainfully and said indifferently, if you think that just one person on the heavenly sin list can drive me out, I'm afraid you will be disappointed. After saying that, the Lord of Loxia City pressed down his palm, the formation was running, and the murderous intent was endless. Countless people screamed, the collective cracked, and strands of blood flowed out. The blood did not fall to the earth, but gathered together, soared into the sky, and turned into a sea of blood. The list of heavenly sins cannot kill you all, so what about me? Just when everyone was about to despair, an old voice came from the void and reached everyone's ears. Before the voice fell, boom! There was a loud noise. The formation collapsed and turned into a stream of light that filled the sky, flying in all directions. In the far sky, the fairy light was overwhelming, and the infinite divine radiance penetrated the sky. A man as bright as the scorching sun strode over. His steps were steady. The body is majestic. It seems to be able to reach the 9 heavens and subdue the 9 secluded places. It emerges from nothingness. Its black hair is like a waterfall, and there are endless stars in its eyes. It is so profound that it is like a god coming to the world. In the past, I was still wondering why the dynasty frequently destroyed cities. It was not until the list of heavenly sins appeared that I finally understood. It turns out that it was you, the Lord of Loxia City, who was behind this all along. This is, the ancestor of the great Chu dynasty. Someone shouted in surprise. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 208. We are saved. Many people in Loxia City breathed a sigh of relief. The Great Chu dynasty is the closest force to the monster clan, and it makes sense that they were the first to react. An ancestor of the Great Chu dynasty came here. This time, the Lord of Loxia City can hardly fly with his wings. Saint, King. The Lord of Loxia City looked ugly. He had expected the scene in front of him, but what he didn't expect was that the opponent came so fast. Before he could take action, the opponent was already in front of him. He was only at the peak of the saint, even if he was close to the Saint King. That is not a Saint King. He is too far behind a true Saint King. Those who practice demonic skills and slaughter their own people should be punished. The Sage King of the Great Chu dynasty, with disheveled hair and eyes like the blazing sun, blooming with eternal brilliance. He drank, raised his hand and struck out a palm. The palm print spread rapidly in the void, covering tens of thousands of miles in radius, covering the entire area. The sky blocked out the sun, and before it set, the ground was cracked, rocks were pierced through the sky, and the palaces were turned into ruins. Fortunately, the people of Loxia City were protected by him at the first opportunity. Otherwise, with this palm strike, it is not certain whether the Lord of Loxia City will die, but he himself will probably be on the list of sins. The premise is that there is a Saint King level heavenly sin list. What a ruthless method. Loxia City Lord gritted his teeth. The opponent came up with a decisive blow, obviously not wanting any accidents to happen. Call out. The Lord of Loxia City soared into the sky, holding up a black ancient shield with dense symbols on it, glowing with an indestructible luster, and blocking it behind him. Boom! There was a shocking loud noise. The palm of the hand was slapped down, followed by a click sound, a teeth-searing cracking sound, and the black ancient shield turned into flying ash in the horrified eyes of the Loxia City Lord. Puff! The Lord of Loxia City coughed up blood, and his whole body was cracked. He screamed and fell thousands of miles away from Loxia City. Devouring other people's essence and blood, this evil path, the foundation is too frivolous. Even if you step into the realm of the Saint King, you are still no match for me, let alone you now. His strength is mediocre, but his mind is vicious. The sage king of the great Chu dynasty glanced at the city lord lying in the ruins. He didn't know whether he was alive or dead. Without saying anything, he waved his hand again. Sonorous. A bright sword light bloomed from the sky and the earth. It was mighty and mighty, like the Yangtze River, roaring and roaring, submerging all the land. Boom! The sword light fell to the ground, and the heaven and earth shook violently. Everyone within thousands of miles was beaten into fly ash. The aura of Loxia City Lord disappeared from then on. After confirming that Loxia City Lord had completely fallen, he glanced at the people in Loxia City and lightly said, in the near future, someone from the great Chu dynasty will come here to assume the position of City Lord, so you don't need to panic. After saying that, the great Chu dynasty sage king turned and left. After he left, countless people in Loxia City cried with joy. This feeling of surviving a disaster cannot be deeply understood without experiencing it. I thought I was going to die. Who would have thought that he would survive at the last moment? While many people were rejoicing, this incident also spread to all directions at an extremely fast speed. The deserted city. In front of Tianji building. Countless people gathered around to watch the list, and everyone was very interested. Look, the ranking of Loxia City Lord has disappeared. In one day, 3 people have disappeared from the list of heavenly sins. If my guess is correct, he should be dead. After all, Ye Chen defeated Yu Qingxian with one move and was seriously injured. His ranking did not waver. However, these 3 people disappeared directly. I can't think of anything other than death. Second possibility. I don't know who is behind it. I just received a piece of news that the person who killed the Lord of Loxia City was the Sage King of the Great Chu dynasty. Tianji Tower has announced so many lists. If you want to say which one is the most dangerous, it must be the Heavenly Sin list. 3 people died in one day. The speed is a bit scary. This is just the beginning. I heard that people from the True Dragon clan were chasing and killing a person on the Heavenly Sin list. Unexpectedly, he had a big teleportation talisman in his hand and ran away. Therefore, the True Dragon clan was furious and directly they sent people to Tianji Tower, saying that no matter how high the price was, they would kill that man. Are you talking about Yang Qiu? In the crowd, a man in black clothes was shrouded in a layer of fog. He listened to the comments in his ears and looked at the list of sins in front of him, and couldn't help but shudder. 3 people have already died. The Lord of Loxia City who is ranked above me is also dead. Then what will happen to me? This person's name is Zhao Wushan. Ranked 81st on the list of heavenly sins, and burdened with countless blood debts, he asked himself that his strength might be stronger than that of the Loxia City Lord, but it was also limited. The other party is dead, and he probably won't be able to jump around for too long. After all, he didn't have much of a background. The reason why things were safe in the past was because he was careful enough, but now it seems that it's no longer possible because of the existence of Tianji Tower. Even if you run to the ends of the earth, you will still end up dead. The owner of Tianji Tower is known to know all the secrets of heaven. How can I, a little saint, escape from his control? According to other people in this world, the only one who can fight against Tianji Tower is Tianji Tower. So, Zhao Wushan glanced at the Tianji Tower not far away, and stepped into it with an anxious mood. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 209. Enter the Tianji Tower. Zhao Wushan saw a man in green, sitting on a chair, with a temperament as gentle as jade, holding a teacup in his hand, and looked towards him. Eyes facing each other. Zhao Wuxian didn't dare to ask for help, so he saluted quickly. Junior Zhao Wuxian, pay my respects to the senior poster. Li Yun nodded casually and said, sit down. Thank you, senior. Zhao Wuxian breathed a sigh of relief. This mysterious senior poster did not seem to show any displeasure because he was on the list of sinners, which made him relax a lot. If so, this senior, as soon as they met, they kicked themselves out. That was the real disaster. You couldn't fight, you couldn't run, there was no other option but to die. Rest assured. Li Yun glanced at Zhao Wuxian and said lightly, Li treats everyone who steps into the Tianji Tower equally. Whether they are a great emperor or an ordinary person, there is no difference in my eyes. This sentence is true. Anyway, no matter how strong the opponent is, the moment he enters the Tianji building, then life and death are already in his hands, and the emperor is indeed the same as ordinary people. But when these words fell into Zhao Wuxian's ears, they obviously didn't taste that way. Emotion. Even if he is the emperor, he is not taken seriously by the senior poster? Zhao Wuxian composed himself, raised his hands and said, Senior's strength is incredible, and I admire you from this, junior. I can't hide it from you. Today, I'm here for the list of sins. Do you want me to remove your name from the list of sins? Li Yun said with a smile, but not a smile. Nothing can be hidden from the seniors. Zhao Wuxian laughed dryly. People like him, whose hands are stained with blood, cannot show themselves openly to the world like other cultivators. Once the truth is revealed, what they will face next is the endless pursuit of those on the right path. Kill. Right now, the only way to break the situation is to let your name disappear from the list of sins. Once your name is gone, the world will definitely think you are dead. Please be careful in the future. You should not cause any big trouble again. If that's what you think, it's not too late to leave now, but I'm afraid you won't be able to leave in a while. Li Yun said casually. Senior, what does this mean? Zhao Wuxian looked at the building in astonishment. For a moment, he didn't understand. 300 years ago, you killed an elder from Taishu Holy Land, right? Li Yun picked up the teacup, took a sip of tea, and said slowly. Yes. Zhao Wuxian nodded. If this was a secret before, it is no longer the case, because this message has already been written in his introduction on the list of sins. Estimate. Taishu Holy Land has now received the news. If the situation gets worse, maybe people from Taishu Holy Land are already on their way to Tianji Tower. Then did you know that the elder you killed was actually the son of Patriarch Wang, a saint from the Holy Land of Taishu? Li Yun put down the teacup and said softly, if you want others to know nothing, unless you do nothing, you killed the elders of Taishu Holy Land, and it is reasonable for them to seek revenge from you. After a while, the people of Taishu Holy Land we are about to arrive at Dawang City. Zhao Wuxian. If the Wuxian sin list appeared, the fact that he had killed the elders of Taishu Holy Land could be hidden for at least a while, and it was even possible that he would not be exposed for the rest of his life. Unfortunately, being beaten out by a person who has committed a crime. Nothing in the world can be hidden from my eyes, including what you are thinking in your heart. Li Yun said something with unknown meaning. As soon as these words came out, Zhao Wuxian was stunned. Thinking of his dissatisfaction with the heavenly sin list just now, he suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. Although he was not dissatisfied with the Tianji building master. But if you have objections to the heavenly sin list, you already have objections to the Tianji Tower. Don't worry, I won't kill you. Li Yun said. At present, the whereabouts of Zhao Wuxian are still useful. It is easy to kill the opponent, but once his name disappears from the list of natural sins, the next profits will be greatly reduced. What you practice is the imperial scripture left by the great Emperor Wu Sheng in the past, the first level of killing. After you have the strength of a saint, you despise ordinary living beings. Do you care about other people who die in your hands? Willingness. Li Yun said indifferently. After coming to the world of cultivation for so long, he has witnessed the death of countless people. Even the Blood Demon clan and hundreds of millions of creatures have been completely destroyed because of his piece of news. Now, his heart is not what it was at the beginning. So soft. It's just a list of natural sins. If you are really cruel, just list the major Holy Land forces. At that time, the forces at the top will definitely have other thoughts about the forces that are not on the list. In the past, there was no such thing. When I started, I didn't know whether the opponent or the ancestors survived. Now that I know the opponent's trump card, who else can hold back? For reference, Ye Chen, who is second on the list of geniuses, defeated the holy son of Yu Hung who was not on the list with one move. This kind of comparison still applies between the major forces. At that time, when the major forces were in a mess, he was still worried about not being able to collect TNG points. He only had to sit in the TNG tower and buy and sell the mountain guard formations of the major forces. If you follow the law, you can make a lot of money. Seniors know, the Sutra of the Innocent Emperor. Zhao Wuxian raised his head suddenly, a look of disbelief flashing in his eyes. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 210. It's just an imperial scripture left by the great Emperor Wuxian in the past. Li Yun talked eloquently. If the senior is willing to point out a clear path for the junior is willing to offer the Sutra of the Inanimate Emperor. Zhao Wuxian said in a deep voice. As soon as he finished speaking, he palmed his hands, and a simple ancient book appeared, with the 4 words Wuxian Emperor Sutra written on it. This classic was very shabby, only a small half of it was missing, and the beginning and the end were missing. Moreover, it is not the original version of Emperor Wu Sheng. It is more like a version copied by the descendants of Emperor Wu Sheng. Without the beginning and end, the value is greatly reduced, but it is still an emperor's scripture, which is better than the ordinary saint level or even saint king level exercises. Must be much stronger. Relying on an incomplete emperor's sutra, you have come this far, which shows that you are not bad at talent, but you have misunderstood the true meaning of the Wuxian Emperor's Sutra. Li Yun glanced at the Wuxian Emperor's Sutra. The information about this Emperor's Sutra was immediately checked out by the system. At this moment, in his heart, he couldn't help but miss the Demon Realm Mysterious Embryo Sutra. If there is this technique, I'm afraid it can be deduced in minutes, and the complete Wuxian Emperor Sutra can be deduced in minutes. Does the senior also have the Inanimate Emperor Sutra in his hands? Zhao Wuxian's heart sank. If the senior has the Wuxian Emperor Sutra in his hands, his fragmentary copy will have no meaning. It would be a bit inappropriate to keep it as a table leg. What do you think? Li Yun didn't answer the question. He picked up the Wuxian Emperor Sutra and said softly, if you can afford the price, I can let you get the inheritance of the Wuxian Emperor. Real? Zhao Wuxian stood up suddenly, in disbelief. Precisely because he had an incomplete emperor's book in his hand, he would understand more about the value of a complete emperor's book. To put it bluntly, with a copy of the emperor's book, he can build a holy land. Or a huge family. But you can't afford it right now. Li Yun glanced at him, then looked at the sky outside, and said calmly, you still have half an hour to escape. If you go to Piaoxiu State and enter the Arctic ice territory, you can escape with your life. The Arctic ice? Zhao Wuxian was shocked. The far north ice territory is very vast and occupies several states, but the senior pointed out the Piaoxiu prefecture. It is obvious that this is a way to survive. And the far north ice territory is a paradise for demon cultivators, where there are many demon sects, and the righteous sects or the Holy Land cannot get in at all. 80% of the people on the list of heavenly sins are in the far north ice region. Of course, it is limited to the human race. Most of the other races naturally stay there within the sphere of influence of one's own ethnic group. Junior, farewell. Zhao Wuxian didn't hesitate at all. He bowed his hands and saluted, quickly turned around and left. His target was the far north ice region. At the same time, he also made up his mind. If there is a chance in the future, he can come to the senior to buy a copy of the Wuxian Emperor Sutra. News. The skill is incomplete. The restrictions on him are too great. It cannot make up for this, and his combat power is restricted. Once the skill is completed, with an Emperor's scripture, his combat power will definitely be far away. Super similar existence. Tisk. Looking at Zhao Wuxian's leaving back, Li Yun withdrew his gaze and glanced at the Wuxian Emperor Sutra in his hand. There were no three realms in the front, and there was even less follow-up to the three realms of Great Sage, Quasi-Emperor, and Great Emperor in the back. It was enough. 6 realms are missing, and the value of the skills has been cut by more than half. In the system, it can only be exchanged for 350,000 TNG points. Zhao Wuxian does not have the cultivation methods of the first 3 realms, but he can cultivate to the strength of a saint. This is already, it can almost be described as unlucky. Half an hour after Zhao Wuxian left, a saint-level supreme elder from the Holy Land of Taishu stepped into the Tianji Tower. When he saw the person coming, Li Yun showed a smile at the corner of his mouth. Holy Land of Taishu, the people came over, but Zhao Wuxian had been gone for half an hour. Even if the news was told to him, it was hard to say whether they, Taishu Holy Land, could go to the far north ice region to arrest people. And he, you don't need to think so much, just make a little profit, that's enough. Junior, I have met the master of Tianji. The elder of Taishu Holy Land, after stepping into the Tianji Tower, bowed his hands and bowed. Sit. Li Yun pointed to the chair not far away. At the same time, the Sea of Chaotic Stars. Although it is a sea area, it is a vast starry sky, boundless, with endless star fields, and lifeless stars hanging in the sky. Rumor. This place used to be an extremely prosperous world, but then it suffered a great disaster. All inheritances were cut off, and all the living creatures in it were killed or injured. Don't know why. The chaotic star sea area merged with this world and turned into a mysterious place. Among them, it is said that there is a chance to become an emperor, but there are also terrifying situations that are enough to make the emperor fall. In the past, the great emperor of the Lin family and the great emperor of the Tianfeng clan all gained enlightenment from the chaotic star sea. Therefore, the chaotic star sea area was shrouded in a mysterious veil. Many powerful quasi-emperors, after reaching the pinnacle of quasi-emperors, will go to the depths of the chaos star sea to find the way to become emperors. But countless years have passed, and countless powerful quasi-emperors have stepped into it, but only a few have returned. There are rumors that there is something deep in the chaotic star sea. It is a chaotic area. Not to mention the powerful quasi-emperor, even if a great emperor enters it, he will lose his way if he is not careful and will never come back. Today, for tens of thousands of years, there has been no movement in the sea of chaotic stars. There was a slight change. In the endless darkness, a light suddenly bloomed. A young man of medium build and ordinary face walked out step by step from the depths of the void.